Good morning, everybody. It's a beautiful morning in Surfside, California. Overcast, but no wind and beautiful seas back behind me as they're approaching rapidly. Boy, we've got some big news, including a big celebration at 22nd Street Landing. October the 23rd, we're going to celebrate 1 million views on YouTube alone. That doesn't count all the other venues that we're on, and we want you to show up. 22nd Street from 8 in the morning until 12 noon. We'll be there at 22nd Street. It's time we had that first cup of coffee together. We'll take you down to Ensenada on today's morning briefing and talk some really excellent fishing. And are the dorado back in the LA Orange County area? Starting to look that way. We've got so much for you this morning. You know what time it is. It is time for the morning briefing. Good morning, everybody. It is great to be back with you. Thank you to all of you who sent in so many great questions on last night's live show. I've got to tell you, every time Brian Wynn shows up, it's a great show. But he brings along Roger Eckhart, who's been in the business for decades and has so much knowledge and was so willing to impart it to all of us. I really enjoyed last night's show, and all of you sending in all of the questions and playing in the contest and everything else. You made the show so great. Thank you very much for doing that. Hey, happy anniversary to Albert and Crystal Ponce, a couple of really lovely people who actually tuned in on their anniversary just for a little bit before they went out to celebrate. Albert, Crystal, you're the best. Happy anniversary to you all. And please hit that like button right now. If you like our show, it really helps us when you smash that like button. Give us a thumbs up. It'll really help us to continue to move up past 1 million views and into the future. And we owe that all to you, so give us a like. All right, folks, so much to talk about. October the 23rd at 22nd Street Landing, we'll be celebrating 1 million views on YouTube. So happy that we've been able to accomplish that with all of your help. Without you, we are nothing, and we fully realize that. So thanks again for making that all possible. I deeply, deeply appreciate it. All right, we've got a lot to cover, but first of all, CCA has some 2-day trips coming up. I was talking to my friend Arnie Seiko, and Arnie said, man, there are these great trips with tons of swag at great prices, and it all goes to help CCA. And when you sign up for one of these trips, you get an annual membership included in the whole thing. So these trips are going to leave on October the 9th, fish through the 11th. $650, includes all your meals, a lot of swag, and all of the different boats involved in this are competing against one another for bragging rights, and that sounds like fun to me. The Pride, the Fury, the Tomahawk, the Ocean Odyssey are all involved in this. So CCA with this great challenge 2-day trips, hopefully you'll be able to jump on one of those trips with them. All right, let's go down to Ensenada, and I'll tell you, I talked to Arnie Man, who was eating his palomitas last night while he was watching the show and telling me that there is some exceptional yellowfin tuna and dorado fishing going on just past Todos Santos Island. So it's very close to the home port of Ensenada for many of the pongueros there, and they are really scoring some great fish. Of course, we've been looking at blackfin, and now you're looking at the operation there. Victor just sent me some videos so you could see his pongas, and he's located there in beautiful, picturesque, rugged Punta. It's such a gorgeous area to fish out of, and they have also been doing quite well with dorado and yellowfin. There's also bluefin down there. There's quite a bit of marlin, and they don't really concentrate on that, but there's a lot of stripers in the area also. So things are looking great for the pongueros down there in Ensenada. I'm going to go down and fish out of blackfin on November the 1st. I'll be down there. I believe that's what it is. I'll talk to Victor in a little bit. But we're going to head on down there. We'll get in from our Relentless trip. We'll go to Rosarita Beach to the Hotel Del Mar and barbecue our fish poolside. You're all welcome to join us, by the way. And then spend the day in Rosarita Beach, shoot up to Ensenada, and go with blackfin. That just sounds like such an incredible day and plan after fishing our trip on board the Relentless, all sounding really good to me. So Ensenada continues to rock. Now, when we're talking tackle for Ensenada and offshore in general, here's what I'm going to suggest. 25 to 40 pound fluorocarbon leaders. Of course, we like www.opsonusa.com. Put in FA at checkout. Greg Brown will send you that love note with some perfume on the card and also get you a free gift. So make sure you do that. FA at checkout. That fluorocarbon's really, really important. Now, number 2 to number 2.0 size hooks, and I'd bring J hooks and circle hooks. Probably use those circle hooks on the tuna, the J hooks on the flatheads. Now, you've got to be prepared for bites that are intense, that are wide open, where the fish are bigger. That's when you go to your heavier tackle. When it's really finicky, the fish don't want to bite, that's when you drop down to the lighter line and the smaller hooks. And of course, the common denominator to all of this is always choosing a really good hot bait. I know some of you have had it with me saying that, but it's just so important to drive that point home. It makes all the difference in the world. The hardest bait in the well to catch is the one you want on your little hook. You toss it out there, you don't get a bite within a minute or so, change it. Something's wrong with it. I don't know what it is, but change it. Change. Keep changing, putting hot baits on there. Your hookup ratios are going to go through the roof. I guarantee you that. Now, there's also been some ironfish. That Daiwa with some chrome in it is a great way to go. I don't fish iron with anything less than 50. You can even bump it up to 60. If you have a 2-speed reel, I would bring it. There's a lot of this 25 to 60 pound bluefin racing around Ensenada and for the San Diego fleet. So you definitely want to have some heavier tackle in addition to having some of that 25 pound. You can even go lighter than that, down to 20, and you'll be in super good shape for the bite out of San Diego or Ensenada. So that kind of covers it all. Great fishing down there out of Ensenada. And now we move up and segue into the bite out of San Diego, and a lot of that is taking place right outside of Ensenada. Some other areas are being hit by several different boats. Scott Buchert jumping on board the Mission Belle this morning. Sam De La Torre from Island Fishing Tackle snapped a photo of Scott as he's ready to go to work. Tomorrow he's going to be fishing on the Grande, so that kid is all over the place and doing really, really well. All right, so yesterday on board the San Diego, nice day, but man, I'll tell you, they were hurting until they found that one good kelp. And sometimes it comes down to that. It's a numbers game. You keep hitting kelps, and they're dry and they're dry and they're dry, and then you stumble onto the good one. One kelp, limits of dorado, 4 bluefin, and a couple of yellowfin tuna. Nice shot there. That is limits of dorado. Mexican limits are 2 fish per rod. That's what they had. U.S. limits are 10 per rod. The Grande yesterday, focusing their efforts on tuna. They are all tuna right now. Of course, they're not going to drive by a kelp with a bunch of flatheads on it, but they are focusing a lot of their attention on tuna, and they pay it off. Nice day. 32 guys on the Grande with 69 yellowfin tuna and 3 bluefin tuna. Nice hit there. Now, thrown into this whole mix are the boats that are up here around San Clemente and Catalina Island fishing that night by the Liberty. Just got back from a 2-day trip into Fisherman's Landing. Check it out. You know, I can tell you what the grade of fish is, or you can look at it right there. Gorgeous, beautiful. A lot of that 40 to 60 pound stuff. Seems like there's a 200 pounder caught out there just about every single night, and there's been some big fat fish, and that's that nighttime fishing. Knife jigs, 200 to 400 grams, 500 grams, nothing less than 100 pound spectra. Leader material that's 200 pounds. You listen to Roger Eckhart on our podcast from last night, and he suggests that you wire your jigs and that the bluefin will have a lot more difficulty chewing through wire than they will mono. So that is something, Roger's been in the game a long time, man. I'll tell you, taking his advice wouldn't hurt at all. Daiwa Pacific had fish in the 70 to 200 plus pound class. Beautiful, gorgeous fish. On board the Ocean Odyssey, our dear friend Mac, who fished with us on the Amigo, great guy. I had breakfast with him the other day. He was on the Ocean Odyssey. He said they had limits of dorado, limits of bluefin tuna. He said the Ocean Odyssey's a big, gorgeous boat. He had a lot of fun on there. Said his first day's fishing was a little bit bumpy, a little snotty out there, and then second day kind of calmed down. Hopefully we're getting into some calmer weather. We shouldn't have this in the fall. It should be really, really nice all the time. Mac, thanks for that great update. Really, really appreciate it. And now it is time for the manager of 22nd Street Landing, Mike Morrison, with his theory about what's going to happen in the coming month or months. All of that dorado, yellowfin tuna, marlin, all that weird stuff up there off Fort Bragg, Morrison thinks, has got to come back home at some point in time. And it's going to come back here, and it's going to bite. We're going to get a rebite. And I don't know. Mike told me this yesterday, and I thought maybe he'd been up in the bar at 22nd Street Landing for too long. But shoot, it kind of, well, I don't know if these are the fish going back home or the fish that are still here, but on board the Some Fun out of Dana Wharf yesterday, 84 dorado. It is not over. That is one heck of a hit on a kelp. Remember, just the other day, the Native Sun was out of 22nd Street and they had 37 dorado. We're not back to those huge numbers yet, but that seems to me to be a very good sign and signal, and I'm sure Mike Morrison is going to take full credit on that one. I'm not sure that that's exactly what's happening, but we don't actually care what's happening. The fact that it's happening is the cool thing. So, as I said, big day yesterday on the Some Fun, and the boys are going to be on that area today, so we might see an increase in the catch, or it might have just been a flash in the pan where he found a lucky kelp, and everybody will end up not doing as well. We'll find out as the day plays out. But definitely, again, I admonish you all to bring some lighter stuff and the heavier stuff. You want to do that. And there's yellowfin and bluefin up here in our local areas also. You got to be prepared for all that. The Pursuit has had tuna on several trips here recently, so looking pretty darn interesting if you ask me. Also out bumping around these areas, the Native Sun yesterday, he looked for those fish and couldn't find them, so he went to Catalina Island. I'll get into the islands in just a moment. So again, overall, still hit and miss, and mostly miss. But a few guys are giving us some signs of hope, and that shot on the Some Fun really is a great one. I love what we see there. Hopefully that's going to hit us in the right direction. All right, let's talk some islands here right now, and talk Todos Santos Island, very near there offshore. You heard what's going on. You got yellowfin and dorado, but at the islands, big bonita and yellowtail. Pretty good bite. Coronado Islands have been good all year long, but it's been neglected because of the great offshore fishing. The Grande was there here recently and had over 40 yellowtail. So I'm going to say it's easy to get 20 to 40, 50 yellows at Coronado Islands right now. And a lot of that fish is kind of like a fall time bite. So we're talking yo-yo iron deep, and also dropping down with a dropper loop rig. That has also been very, very effective on the yellows. A few on the fly line, and at times it'll fire up and bite the surface iron, but it's been deep, mostly at the Coronado Islands. At San Clemente Island, there's some very good yellowtail fishing there at times, but you've got to deal with the structure. They're fishing short water at SCI right now, sometimes 50 feet of water, and those 12 to 20-pound yellows will run you into that structure, those rocks, that kelp, like that, fast. So you've got to put the brakes on them. As Jeff Yeoman said last night, he was talking about bluefin, but the same thing applies to yellowtail. The way to put the hurt on them, the way to stop them, is by buttoning down on the drag and pulling hard. And that's the only way you're going to keep them out of the structure. 25 to 40 pound, whatever you can get bid on. If you can get bid on the 40, highly recommend you do it. A 2-0 size hook, and there's some pretty good fishing going on there. Catalina is kind of up and down. It's not bad. Now on the Native Sun, I ran into a friend yesterday who was getting back in from the Native Sun. I said, how was it? He said, it was fun. Great day, man. We had a lot of action on the bonita, a few bass, that kind of a thing. So that's really what's going on. You catch some bonita, have a beautiful day at Catalina Island, and some sheep's head and whitefish, occasional calico bass, occasional yellowtail. Nothing wrong with that. Sport King had a mixed day with one yellowtail yesterday, so they are picking away. And up there in the Channel Islands, a lot of rockfish right now, but do not write off the possibility of some sea bass being taken today or any other day up there in the Channel Islands, because it just keeps rocking up there in that neck of the woods. It's been absolutely incredible up there. So really good rockfish, but halibut and white sea bass are definitely not out of the picture. Up and down the coast down there in Ensenada on the coast, we see some really good calico bass fishing in the Punta Banda area up there in San Diego. Decent bass fishing with some big yellows and big bonita at times for the new Seaforth half-day boat out of C4 Sport Fishing Dana. We're seeing good calico bass fishing, not a lot of keepers, but some good action there. Up here in the Redondo area, good bass fishing at times there. And Marina del Rey, same kind of a situation. Kind of skipped over the Horseshoe in that area. There's good bass fishing, mostly for the private boaters, it seems like. Sport boats that are staying local are catching a lot of rockfish right now. And up there in the Channel Islands, Island Spirit out of Ventura Sport Fishing, nice whitefish sheepshead bite. A lot of days he's getting, Cody Rogers, that is the captain, getting limits on the whitefish. Nada wrong with that. That's some pretty good fishing. In the surf, continued good fishing for Corvina, some yellowfin croaker. Spotfin croaker starting to show up. Spotfin croaker like to bite natural baits. They don't bite the lures all that well. Yellowfin croaker love to bite that chrome crocodile and some other lures like Castmasters. That kind of stuff work really well on yellowfin croaker. But spotfin want a natural bait, and they just love a big sand crab. They'll also bite very well on the sandworms that you dig up here in the surf. You can watch my video on how to do that. If you like, go back through our archive videos and you'll be able to check that out. So folks, one more thing I got to bring up with you, and that is December the 3rd. Any of you out there interested in a rock cod trip on board the Amigo? It's a Saturday. I'm thinking about booking it. If I get enough interest, I'll book it. We'll go out and catch some really nice, big, fat rock cod. My favorite kind of fishing. And I'll actually fish on this trip, because who the heck wants to watch video of a guy winding up a rock cod? The photos of the catches are great, and the video of the catches are great, but I'll be out there fishing right along with you. So that's December the 3rd on the Amigo, 22nd Street Landing in San Pedro, California, and that would be a lot of fun. I believe that's a Friday night departure for fishing on Saturday. Let me know if you're interested in that. Put a comment on our YouTube channel section. I'll be watching fishing all day long. Should be very, very interesting. And once again, October the 23rd, come on down and have that cup of coffee in person with me for the morning briefing. It's going to be a lot of fun. You can get a photo with us in the studio, meet many of the guests who have been there. Brian Wynn will be there. You have a question about tackle, knot tying, jigs, anything else, we'll have that, and we'll also have some swag we'll be giving away. Bring your cup of coffee. We'll provide all the muffins for you to munch out on, and of course, I'm looking forward to really shaking your hand and saying thank you. All right, my friends, have a great day. Thanks for joining me on the morning briefing. As always, I deeply appreciate you taking time out of your day to spend with me. Take care, and I hope to see you really, really soon.